Hello my lovers, how are you today? Today I'm talking about parasites and archons and what we can do to keep ourselves safe from them. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So I know there's a lot of talk about parasites, like, other dimensional parasites that get onto the backs of people and suck the life out of them, literally suck the loosh out of them. And I've always had I've always felt a little bit like, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. And I thought that people were jumping on the bandwagon a bit and getting themselves work, earning money by way of telling people that they were infected with parasites. It's something that's been done since the beginning of time. You've got the evil eye, there's somebody's put a curse on you, and I can take it off. Cross my palm with silver and I'll do that for you. So I've always been a little bit kind of skeptical of that. However, I was in a conversation with a lovely lady, Rosa. I don't know whether she'll get to see this. Hola, Rosa. We talk in Spanish, and Rosa has done lots and lots of work on this kind of thing, and she's very into it. And so she sent me some material of a guy who wrote all about this, who said that he could see them ever since he was a child. He could see these parasitical creatures feeding off people. And she sent me an audiobook, which I listened to whilst I was running. And the unfortunate thing was the audiobook was read by AI. And I don't know if you've ever heard an AI read audiobook. It starts off I'm fooled at the beginning. I think, oh, that's good. Nice and clear. I can hear every word. And then I'm aware, because I've done loads of audiobooks for my other business. I do audiobooks all the time, and I'm aware that there's a certain naturalness to when people read. You can hear them breathing, the pause, there's intonation. With an audiobook read by AI, it's the same, never changes, except one thing, which is sometimes it doesn't know where to put a gap. And so often it's reading and it goes like this. And so the man walked in to the shop and he said to the man, "Can I have something else?" And it's like that, and it really throws you. Imagine I'm listening in Spanish. It's in Spanish and I'm really it throws you. So AI, I know we talked about AI. Audiobooks, they're very good if you need some information, but not for enjoyment. They are soulless things. I was listening for information, but it was pissing me off, I've got to say. Stop at a comma, and if there's no comma, don't stop. That's kind of the advice I would give to AI if it were listening, and it probably is. So, getting back. So I was listening to this thing. This guy was talking about all of these. Basically, the archons, that's what he was saying, the archons came here and then they wanted to feed off humankind. And so they created these kind of like little bug things that go on the back of people and they suck the life out of them, yeah? And he could see it. And he discovered that they were there when people were in a bad place, and they would feed off the negative feelings of the people. And he discovered also that he could stop them from attaching themselves to him by meditating and connecting with source. That was basically the whole premise of the book. Up to now, I listened to 30 minutes of the book, and it was about that. If you don't want parasites, you have to connect to source. And as soon as he connected to source, they went. Okay? So I thought, well, I'll chat with the emissaries about that and see what their take is on the parasite situation. And so I asked them, and they said, yes, as we've mentioned before, because there are extra dimensional beings that use us as a source of energy. Yeah, they definitely do. And they said what attracts them to us is unhappiness, because unhappiness is when we're in fear. When we're not happy, we're in fear. And they said it's fear that they feed off. They feed off fear. Okay? And remember, we've got two places to be: love or fear. And so they went on and they said, these days, what's happening because of the vibrational change, the frequency change, they are having more and more trouble feeding off us, because so many people are raising the vibration and moving out of that dark fear and into, well, toward love, let's say that. They said for them to be strong, they need that energy that they take from us, that negative energy, like those monsters in Monsters Inc. You know, it's exactly the same story, really, which is we need negative energy, right? And as it happened, the story ended where they realized that the energy of love was so much bigger, but not for the Archons. The Archons aren't interested in the energy of love. They want the dark energy, the loosh. So the emissaries give me this loop on this connection to source, and they said to connect to love, we've got to be happy. For us to be happy, we've got to be true to ourselves. For us to be true to ourselves, we've got to follow our purpose. And to follow our purpose, we've got to sort our shit out. They didn't say that, I said that. But that was the idea. You know, to follow your purpose, you've got to sort yourself out. And also you've got to know what your purpose is. And that's part of sorting your shit out. As you sort your shit out, you realise where your priorities are. And often they're not where they were when you were up to here and shit. Remember that story about the psychologist who said people don't want to get better. People don't want to get better. He said it's like, to give you a metaphor or a simile, it's like everybody's up to the neck in shit. They're bathed in shit. They are immersed in shit. But they don't want you to pull them out of the shit. They want you to stop other people making waves. So to understand what your purpose is, you've got to get rid of your shit. You've got to clear that out so you can have a proper look. And so they said, when you connect to love, you can do that through meditation. You can do that through going into nature. You can do that through hypnosis, you know, active hypnosis. You can do that through your faith, your religion, and you can do that with your family. You can move into love in many, many different ways. You can do that with just gratitude. Just by giving thanks, you move into love. And when we move into love, instantly those beings, there's nothing for them. There's nothing for them to have. And so they go. Okay? And they said this, which I thought was interesting. They said, we understand that in this 3D plane, we're not always in love. Sometimes we're in fear. Even, you know, the best of us, sometimes we're in fear. But they said, what happens is this. For them to attach to you, it takes an investment of energy for them. It's quite a big job. It's hard work. And so what they said is it's got to be worth it for them to make the effort to attach. If you were going in and out of love, that means every time you go into love, they've got to detach. And so they said it's just not worth the effort for them to attach to you and then detach and attach, because it uses a lot of their energy as well. So they said that they would rather be with people who were virtually always in fear, because they get better investment of their time. And so I said to them, so, you know, as we're progressing through this energy increase, will the Archons go? And they said, yeah, they will. Of course they will. But they said they'll go from those who are ascending. I'm using that word and I don't even like it, but ascending, if you know what I mean. The vibration is ascending. They said, but they'll stay with those who choose to stay. And, you know, we've talked about this kind of split off of the timeline. They'll stay with those who choose to stay. And then they kind of had this wry laughter. It was like I don't know. It was like, and poor them. Because obviously the people who choose to stay are going to have all of the Archons focused on them. And they are going to be sucked dry. for sure. And the emissary said, that's why those who choose to stay, those who choose to move to the darkness, that's why it's described as hell. Because, imagine, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that at some point in my life, I have been giving my energy to darkness. I'm sure I have. I know I've had some very dark times, but so long ago, I can't remember them now. I can't remember that feeling. And now I never, ever get the sense, ever, that I'm giving my energy to those horrible little things. Never, ever. However, I think when those times were happening to me, I think it wasn't a nice place. It makes you feel hopeless. So there you are. That's what the emissaries take on the archons and the energy suckers. You sucker. Yeah, that's what they think. What do you think? I don't know. I mean, I still, my physical Gordon Smith-Durán mind is saying, I don't even know if I believe in it. But I wanted to share what the emissaries say because that's my job, to share that. I love you all and I'd love to know your comments. Have you had experiences? Do you believe fully and completely in this, or are you skeptical, or what? And how do you protect yourself? I'd like to know. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.